You close your laptop. The workday is over. But your brain? Your brain is still working, replaying the meeting, thinking about tomorrow's deadline, running through the email you forgot to send. You sit on the couch, scroll your phone, watch Netflix, try to relax. But you can't. Your mind won't stop. Your body is home, but you're still at work. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. This isn't stress. This isn't anxiety. This is your brain stuck in work mode, and it doesn't know how to switch off. In Japan, they figured out how to fix this. Not through meditation apps or breathing exercises. Through a routine. A simple after-work routine that actually turns your brain off. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what they do and why it works when everything else fails. Because the problem isn't that you need to relax. The problem is your brain doesn't believe the workday is over. So let's talk about how to change that. First, let's understand why this happens. Why does your brain stay in work mode even after work ends? Because modern work never actually ends. Think about it. 100 years ago, work had clear boundaries. You left the factory, you left the farm, you left the office. And when you left, work was done, physically done. You couldn't take it with you. But now, work lives in your pocket, your laptop, your phone, your brain. There's no physical separation, no clear boundary, no moment where work definitively stops. So your brain never gets the signal. The signal that says, okay, we're done. You can turn off now. Instead, it stays vigilant, ready, on alert. Because what if an email comes in? What if your boss needs something? What if there's an urgent message? Your brain treats the evening like an extended work break, not actual rest. And here's the problem. When your brain doesn't turn off, your body can't recover. Sleep is worse. Energy is lower. Stress accumulates. And over time, you burn out. Not because you're working too hard, because you never stop working. Even when you think you're resting, your brain is still running work programs in the background. And that's what we need to fix. So here's what Japan does differently. They don't try to force their brain to relax. They create transitions, clear, physical ritual transitions that signal to the brain work is over. Because your brain doesn't respond to decisions, it responds to cues. You can decide, I'm going to relax now. But if nothing changes externally, your brain doesn't believe you. It needs evidence, physical evidence that the mode has shifted. And that's what the Japanese after-work routine provides. A series of clear transitions that move you from work mode to rest mode. Not all at once, gradually, intentionally. Because you can't flip a switch from high alert to deep rest. But you can walk down a staircase. And that's exactly what this routine is, a staircase down from work. First step, leave work at work. In Japan, there's a cultural practice of leaving the office and not bringing work home. Not perfectly, not always, but as a default. When you leave the building, work stays in the building. Now, for remote workers, this is harder, but the principle still applies. You need a physical boundary, a line that separates workspace from rest space. If you work from home, close your laptop, put it in a drawer, in another room, out of sight. Don't leave it on the couch. Don't leave it open on the table. Because every time you see it, your brain thinks, we might need to work, and it stays in work mode. The physical act of closing and removing your work device sends a signal. Work is contained. Work is done. Work is not here anymore. This sounds small, but it's not. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment for cues. And when the work cue is gone, it starts to relax. Second step, change your clothes. In Japan, many people change out of their work clothes the moment they get home. Not into pajamas, into home clothes, comfortable clothes, different clothes. Why does this matter? Because your brain associates your work clothes with work mode. When you're wearing them, you're in work mode, even if you're sitting on the couch. But when you change, you give your brain another signal, a clear one. The work uniform is off. We're in a different mode now. This is why athletes have pre-game rituals, why surgeons scrub in, why monks wear robes. Clothing is a powerful psychological cue, and when you intentionally change out of work clothes, you're telling your brain, we're transitioning. It's not about the clothes themselves, it's about the act of changing. That moment of transition, that physical shift. Most people skip this. They stay in work clothes all evening, and they wonder why they can't relax. But your brain is still receiving work signals, so it stays in work mode. Change your clothes. It's simple, but it works. Third step, wash your hands and face. In Japan, this is common practice when you come home. A moment of cleansing, of resetting. Not a full shower, just hands and face. Cool water, intentional. This does two things. First, it's another physical transition, another clear signal that you're moving from one mode to another. Second, it's physiologically calming. Cool water on your face activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, your body starts to shift out of stress mode. This is called the mammalian dive reflex, and it's one of the fastest ways to calm your nervous system. But beyond the biology, there's the ritual, the act of washing, of removing the day, of starting fresh. It creates a psychological break, a moment where you're not working and you're not resting, you're transitioning. And that transition is what your brain needs. Most people go straight from work to couch, no pause, no reset. But without a transition, your brain doesn't shift, it just continues. Washing your hands and face is a simple 60-second transition, but it changes how the rest of your evening feels. Fourth step, take a short walk. In Japan, this is called yoru no sanpo, the evening walk. Not exercise, not a workout. Just a 10 to 20-minute gentle walk, after work, before dinner. Why? Because walking does something your brain can't do sitting still. It processes. During the day, your brain accumulates stress, decisions, unfinished thoughts. All of it piles up. And if you go straight from work to sitting on the couch, it stays piled up. But when you walk, your brain starts to sort through it, unconsciously, naturally. Walking activates a state called transient hypofrontality. Your prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, quiets down, and your default mode network, the background processing system, turns on. This is the state where insights happen, where stress dissolves, where your brain organizes itself. You're not trying to solve problems, you're just walking, and your brain does the work. In Japan, families often walk together after dinner, not talking about work, just walking, being present. And by the time they get home, the mental clutter from the day has cleared. You don't need a destination, you don't need a goal, just walk, slowly, gently. Leave your phone at home if you can, or keep it in your pocket. Just notice your surroundings, the air, the sounds, the light. This isn't meditation, it's transition. And it's one of the most powerful steps in this routine. Fifth step, eat dinner, but not in front of a screen. In Japan, meals are often a moment of presence. You sit, you eat, you focus on the food, not on your phone, not on the TV, not on work emails, just the meal. Why does this matter? Because eating in front of a screen keeps your brain in consumption mode, input mode, processing mode. You're not resting, you're still taking in information, still reacting, still engaged. But when you eat without screens, something shifts. Your brain has nothing to do but be present, and presence is restful. You taste the food, you notice the texture, you eat slower. And that slowness signals to your brain, we're not in a rush, we're not in work mode, we have time. This doesn't mean you have to eat in silence. You can talk, you can connect, you can enjoy. But the key is no screens. No consuming content while you consume food. Because multitasking, even passive multitasking, keeps your brain active. And an active brain doesn't turn off. So make dinner a transition, a moment where you're not working and you're not consuming, just eating. It's simple, but most people never do it, and they wonder why their evenings feel exhausting. Sixth step, and this is the big one, the ofuro, the Japanese bath. In Japan, the evening bath is not optional. It's not a luxury, it's a daily ritual. Hot water, deep soaking, 10 to 20 minutes, every single night. And here's why it works. A hot bath does something that nothing else can do. It forces your brain to stop. When you're in hot water, you can't multitask. You can't check your phone, you can't work. You can only sit and breathe and be. And that forced stillness is what actually turns your brain off. But there's also the biology. When you get into hot water, your core body temperature rises, and when you get out, it drops rapidly. That temperature drop triggers melatonin release. It activates your sleep drive. It tells your brain, time to rest. But beyond the temperature, there's the sensory shift. The warmth, the water, the quiet. All of it is different from your day. Your brain can't stay in work mode when your body is in a completely different state. And that's the key. You're not trying to relax your brain. You're changing your body's state, and your brain follows. In Japan, the bath is quiet. No music, no phone, no distractions, just water and breath and stillness. 10 to 20 minutes, that's it. And by the time you get out, your brain has shifted completely. You're not in work mode anymore. You're in rest mode. This is the single most powerful step in the routine, and it's the one most people skip because they think a shower is the same, but it's not. A shower is functional. A bath is ritual. And ritual is what creates the transition. 7th step, no screens for 60 minutes before bed. This is hard, but necessary, because screens keep your brain in work mode. Even if you're watching Netflix, every notification, every scroll, every scene change, all of it activates your brain. And an activated brain doesn't turn off. But when you put the screens away, your brain has nothing to do, and it starts to wind down. What do you do instead? Read a physical book, journal, stretch, talk, sit in silence. Anything that doesn't involve a screen. Because the blue light from screens suppresses melatonin, and melatonin is what makes you sleepy. But beyond the light, there's the content. When you're consuming content, you're processing, reacting, engaging, and that keeps your brain active. But when there's no content, your brain finally gets to rest. In Japan, evenings are often analog, reading, conversation, reflection. Not because they're anti-technology, but because they understand what the brain needs to turn off, and it needs a break from input. So for 60 minutes before bed, no screens, just presence. And watch how different your sleep feels. So here's why this routine works when everything else fails. Because it's not about willpower, it's about transitions. You can't force your brain to relax, but you can guide it. Through clear, physical, ritual steps that signal we're done working. Each step is a cue, a signal, a transition. Leaving work behind, changing clothes, washing your face, walking, eating mindfully, bathing, no screens. None of these are relaxation techniques, they're transitions. And transitions are what your brain needs. Because your brain doesn't turn off instantly. It needs a path, a staircase, a series of steps down. And that's what this routine provides. By the time you finish all 7 steps, you're not in work mode anymore. You're in rest mode. Not because you tried to relax, because you transitioned. So here's the truth. Your brain isn't broken. It's not weak. It's not failing you. It's just stuck. Stuck in work mode because you never gave it a way out. But when you create clear transitions, everything changes. Your evenings stop feeling exhausting. Your sleep improves. Your stress drops. Not because you're working less, because you're actually resting. You don't need all 7 steps at once. Pick one. Start there. Let it become part of your evening, and then add another. Because turning your brain off isn't about doing more. It's about transitioning better. And when you transition well, rest becomes natural. If this changed how you think about your evenings, hit subscribe. I break down habits, routines, and the science of how to actually rest. And let me know in the comments, which step are you going to try first?